This is your reality check.
Welcome to The Reality Check, the weekly Canadian show that explores a wide range of controversies and curiosities using science and critical thinking. Today is July 11th, 2020, and it's just me, producer Pat. We have something for you today that we haven't done in a while, something we call a mashup. It's where we take segments from 3 different shows and mix them together based on a theme. We here on TRC like to play a game called Name That, and the crew's favorite is when I do a version called Spot the Fake. So we have 3 games of Spot the Fake for you. I'll start with the first time we ever played this twist on Name That on episode 467.
And now we turn to Pat for another game of Name That.
All right, here we go with another edition of everyone's favorite mostly guessing game, Name That. Today we play Name That, Spot the Fake. I've come through and fact-checked dozens of articles with titles like 27 facts that you won't believe are true, or 36 true facts that sound like lies. So it's very possible that you guys have heard some of these. We have 5 questions, no tiebreaker today. If we're tied after 5 questions, we'll end that way. For each question, I will give you 4 so-called facts and ask you to spot the fake. All right, question number 1. Cristina, name that. Which of these is the fake? A, there is a psychological disorder called boanthropy, where a human believes himself or herself to be a bovine, an ox or a cow, and attempts to live and behave accordingly. B, frostbite is often preceded by a stage called frost nip. C, Pluto only made 2 full orbits around the sun between the time it was discovered and the time it was declassified as a planet. Or D, Bluetooth technology is named after a 10th century king, King Harold Bluetooth Gormson.
Good job, Pat.
Oh, this
well
is
done.
amazing. I'm going to go with C, Pluto.
Cristina says C. Next is Darren.
I will commend you once again. This is quite amusing. In a field of difficult options, I will pick King Bluetooth.
Darren says D. And lastly, Adam.
These all sound true, but I will go with B, frostbite, frost snip. I think there's going to be some technicality, like they both exist, but they don't appear in succession because of some weird biological thing.
Adam goes with B. Pluto was discovered on February 18th, 1930. Yes. It takes the dwarf planet 248.09 Earth years to complete 1 orbit around the sun. And so Pluto will complete its first orbit since it was discovered on March 23rd, 2178.
My error was I should have listened better. I thought you said something like less than 2.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it takes a while. That's fine. As opposed to 2.
Good one, Pat.
Question number 2. Darren, name that. Which one of these is the fake? A, caller ID is illegal in California. B, researchers have discovered the Viagra, dissolved in a vase of water, can double the shelf life of cut flowers, making them stand up straight for as long as a week beyond their natural lifespan.
I hope that one's true.
C, an octopus has 3 hearts. Or D, there are more kangaroos in Australia than humans by almost 2 to 1.
Whoa, 50 million roos? I guess I'll pick the Viagra one. I don't know.
Darren goes with B. Next to Adam.
I'm going to pick A because I believe caller ID is known to cause cancer and birth defects to the state of California.
So Adam says A, and lastly, Cristina.
Yeah, I can't believe that caller ID is illegal in California. Although I guess it wouldn't be that crazy considering how they roll, but I pick A.
So Cristina agrees with Adam, and Cristina and Adam are correct.
Oh.
Yes.
Caller ID is legal in California. However, the idea that it isn't comes from an incorrect so-called real fact printed on the lids of Snapple bottles. In a 2013 article for The Atlantic, Adrienne LaFrance fact-checked a number of Snapple's, air quotes, facts.
Oh, that's interesting.
Awesome.
Question number 3. Adam, name that. Which of these is the fake? A, cats have 32 muscles in each of their ears. B, Food for the Poor is an American nonprofit The name of the president and CEO is Robin Mahfood.
Oh, no.
C, a jiffy is the scientific name for 1/100th of a second. Or D, an astronaut can officiate marriages under Texas state law.
These are brilliant, Pat.
Yep.
These
I agree.
are good. I'm going to say the astronaut one is false, so D.
Adam says D. Next is Cristina.
I'm going to say C, Jiffy, because, I don't know, I can see you kind of trying to pull a fast one on that.
Cristina says C. And lastly, Darren.
I'll be there in a jiffy. 1/100. That seems... Again, well done, Pat. And 32 muscles in the ear seems high. I'll pick that.
Darren says A. Cats do have 32 muscles in each ear.
Wow.
Food for the Poor's CEO is Robin Mahfood. A jiffy is a measure of time. An astronaut officiating marriages comes from a Reddit thread titled, "What's the most realistic fake fact that you can come up with?"
Oh, man. But that's really interesting that Jiffy is an actual... I never knew that.
That's probably where the expression comes from.
Yeah.
But just that term is so unknown, or is less known than the expression.
Yeah, that's why I thought he was trying to fool us with that
for
one.
sure.
But, wow.
Pat, I just happened to Google jiffy because I was curious. I just couldn't believe it. And it is indeed a unit of time, although it does seem to have different types of values depending on who's using it at what time and what decade. It goes from picoseconds, or 10 to the negative 24, all the way up to, as you said, 100th of a second, or maybe different times based on computer cycles or whatever else people want to measure.
And depending on the final score, we'll see if Darren officially protests the results.
No, I think I'm in a hole.
Darren's in a bit of a hole, so I'm not too worried about it.
I'm in a bit of a jiffy hole, as some people use the term.
All right, question number 4. Cristina, name that. Which of these is the fake? A, buzzards and vultures are the same animal. They're called buzzards when they're flying and vultures when they land.
That sounds ridiculous.
B, when the Mona Lisa was stolen from the Louvre in 1911, Pablo Picasso was among the suspects. C, the Russians showed up 12 days late for the 1908 Olympics in London because they were using the Julian calendar instead of the Gregorian calendar. Or D, each of the eyes of an ostrich is bigger than its brain.
Oh, I'm going to go with A, reluctantly.
Cristina says A. Next is Darren.
Sorry, buzzard, vulture. I remember ostrich was the last one.
Buzzard, vulture, Pablo Picasso as a suspect for the Mona Lisa theft. Russians showed up 12 days late for the Olympics in 1908. And each eye of an ostrich is bigger than its brain.
You know, I hate to agree with Cristina, but I think I will pick the buzzard vulture.
Darren agrees with Cristina. Lastly, Adam.
I'm going to go with B, that Pablo Picasso was not a suspect for stealing the Mona Lisa.
Adam says B, and Cristina and Darren are correct.
Yes!
Good job, Cristina.
While the term buzzard and vulture are sometimes used interchangeably in the U.S. to describe the turkey vulture, it has nothing to do with whether or not they are in flight. In fact, buzzards and vultures are two unique birds. I pulled this from a YouTube video called Fake Facts, Let's Fool the World, which had nearly 3.5 million views.
Mister, I would hate to agree with Cristina. If you had agreed with me on the first two, maybe you'd be further along there, Darren.
Oh.
Maybe I'd be further along. Maybe I'd be further along in the game. I'll feel better about myself in the world. I'll get more points and have some social validation.
If you'd agreed with Cristina in the second question, you would have predicted her answer.
Thank you, Adam.
Pointing it out.
So going into question 5, I have Cristina with 3, Adam with 2, and Darren with 1.
I'm gonna nail it. I'm coming back.
Question number 5. Darren, name that. Which of these is the fake? A, Saudi Arabia imports camels from Australia. B, many people believe that Thursday is named after the Norse god of thunder, Thor. It is in fact named after Thor's brother, Thur, Thur.
Played by Luke Hemsworth.
The least known Hemsworth of the bunch.
Well, he's in Westworld. He's just less attractive than his brothers. Sorry, Luke, if you're listening.
C, 1 out of every 10 Icelanders will publish a book in their lifetime. Or D, a koala's fingerprints are indistinguishable from a human's fingerprints.
I think we have to go with Thur. And also Adam. I don't think he's necessarily less attractive facially, but he's just shorter.
Oh, we'll look at some pictures. It's
Shorter,
flagrant.
therefore less attractive.
I know. Cristina is heightest, as many people are.
Yes.
Darren goes with B. Next is Adam.
I would love for the koala one to be true, but I mean, I saw a bunch at the San Diego Zoo. They're so small, I don't see how that could really work out.
Adam says D. And lastly, Cristina.
I guess I'll go. The koala thing just seems so ridiculous, but I have a feeling that it's A, but I'm going to go with
advice.
D.
Oh,
Thursday is named after Thor, who does not have a brother named Thur.
Yes!
Gosh.
sorry, Luke.
As an aside, I thought the koala fingerprint fact was one of the most interesting I stumbled upon. There's a link to a live science article about it in our show notes, along with information about everything else we talked about in the game. So, Cristina is your winner. Congratulations.
Yay.
Congratulations.
All right, next we have the first time we ever played Spot the Fake with a guest on episode 517. It was with medical doctor turned food science writer and science communicator, Dr. Stuart Farrimond. Stu is brilliant and tons of fun to talk to. As you'll hear, I was a little worried that since Stu is in the UK, he wouldn't understand some North American references, and that turned out to be true. Despite that, Stu is remarkably confident in his answers. So let's see how that worked out for him. Thank you, Stuart, for being a good sport and agreeing to play along.
I'm excited. I've been looking forward to it.
All right, well, today we play another edition of Name That, Spot the Fake.
Ooh.
Oh.
We have 5 questions, no tiebreaker. If we're tied after 5 questions, we'll end that way. For each question, I will give you 4 so-called facts. 3 are true, 1 is made up. Your job is to find the fake fact. Question number 1, Darren, spot the fake. A. Tootsie Rolls were added to soldiers' rations in World War II because they stayed fresh for a long time. B. Mr. Rogers always mentioned out loud that he was feeding his fish because a young blind viewer once asked him to do so. C. Since founding the Imagination Library in 1995, Dolly Parton has donated 100 million books to children. Or D. The founders of Johnson & Johnson were not related.
Yeah, this is always a good game, Pat, because it's always difficult. I'll pick D.
Darren says the founders of Johnson & Johnson were not related. Next is Cristina.
I'm going to go with D. That just sounds like that would be a tricky question.
Cristina agrees with Darren about the founders of Johnson & Johnson. Next is Adam.
Well, I think D is probably true, and maybe the inspiration for Die Hard with Agent Johnson and Special Agent Johnson, who were not related. I'm going to go with B. I think that Mr. Rogers one is not true, and I think he just describes things because TV is a medium where you can't assume people are paying attention.
All right. And lastly, Stuart.
So the first one, could you just say that one again?
Tootsie Rolls were added to soldiers' rations in World War II because they stayed fresh for a long time.
That's Tootsie Rolls, is that toothpaste?
So
It's a type of candy.
It's a candy that's
kind of
kind
chewy.
of like toffee.
Yes, brown. It's actually kind of disgusting looking, but it's kind of brown toffee that looks like a fat licorice.
Just to be upfront, Stuart, I actually worried that some of these references you might not get. So hopefully that's not going to be too common.
Okay, so if that's something for the army, for the soldiers, their breath probably stunk awful. So yeah, I'm going to believe that one's true. The Johnson & Johnson one, I think that they're unrelated. C was
Dolly Parton giving away 100 million books.
Oh yeah, I'm sure she's done that. So, and I don't know who the person is in B, so I'm going to go with that one is going to go with B.
All right. Tootsie Rolls were added to soldiers' rations. Mr. Rogers did mention out loud that he was feeding his fish for a blind viewer. Dolly Parton has donated over 100 million books to children. The founders of Johnson & Johnson were brothers. Question number 2. Cristina, spot the fake. A baby owl is called a novice. B, Queen Elizabeth II is a trained auto mechanic. C. Volvo gave away the patent for their revolutionary 3-point seatbelt in order to save lives. Or D. Bela Lugosi, perhaps the most famous actor to play Dracula, was buried in a full Dracula costume.
Thinking it through, I think I'm going to go with D.
Okay, you're saying Bela Lugosi was not buried in a Dracula costume. Next is Adam.
I think you're being a little tricky.
Yeah, I'm going to say A. Owls being called novices. Baby owls being called novices is fake.
Next, Stuart.
I'm pretty sure owls are called novices or something like that. The Queen, yes, I'm sure she did do some car mechanic training, so I think that one is true. I think that the Dracula guy was buried in his costume, so I'm going to go with C.
Stuart says Volvo did not give away the patent. And lastly, Darren.
It's interesting because depending on what people say, my answer shifts. Hearing this rationale, I'm
Funny
like,
how that works.
Stuart knows a lot about mac and cheese, but what does he know about auto mechanics and the Queen? Well, he's British, so he must know. Oh, I was going to pick the Queen, but now I'll pick C.
Darren agrees with Stuart that Volvo gave away the patent. Bela Lugosi was buried in a Dracula costume.
Damn it.
Wow.
Volvo did give away the patent in order to save lives. Queen Elizabeth is a trained auto mechanic. A young owl is called an owlet.
Oh, I knew about the Queen.
I was so wrong.
Fancy the Queen.
Yeah. Yes, the Queen.
Just because someone has a British voice doesn't mean they're smarter.
It's so true. So true.
Question number 3. Adam, spot the fake. A. An estimated 1 million dogs in the U.S. have been named the primary beneficiaries in their owners' wills. B. At least 2 unconnected cultures have used sparrow skulls as a form of currency. C. Poet, writer, and performer Maya Angelou was the first black female streetcar conductor in San Francisco. Or D. In Japan, letting a sumo wrestler make your baby cry is considered good luck.
I'm going to say A is the fake, although it doesn't seem unreasonable for someone to name their dog a beneficiary of a will. That number seems way too high.
All right, next, Stuart.
Okay, I think that sparrow skulls as currency. I just done a book all about spices, and people use spices for currency. So people use stupid things for currency all the time. So I'll go with that one as being true. I think that you made up the one about sumo wrestling.
All right, Stuart says in Japan, sumo wrestlers making your baby cry is considered good luck is the fake. Next is Darren.
They all seem so plausible. I'll pick Maya Angelou.
And lastly, Cristina.
I am going to go with Stuart. I think the sumo wrestler one is the fake, so D.
Cristina agrees with Stuart. Yes, they estimate 1 million dogs in the U.S. have been named primary beneficiaries in wills. In Japan, people do let sumo wrestlers make their babies cry in the hope of good luck. Maya Angelou was the first black female street conductor in San Francisco. 2 unconnected cultures using sparrow skulls as currency is made up.
Oh, man.
Question number 4. Stuart, spot the fake. A. Ironically, Kevin Bacon founded an organization that finds homes for rescued factory farm pigs. B. Sesame Street's The Count loves to count. But this isn't just a quirky character trait. In traditional vampire folklore, vampires have arithmomania, a compulsion to count. C. Portland was named by a coin flip. Had the coin landed the other way, the city would have been called Boston, Oregon. Or D. Due to the restaurant's reputation for staying open in extreme weather, the so-called Waffle House Index is informally used by FEMA to gauge storms' severity.
Oh, man.
Do you know what Waffle House is, Stuart?
I know what waffles are.
Waffle House is a
chain.
is a breakfast chain.
Okay, yeah.
And they have a reputation for staying open in extreme weather. The idea is that FEMA has this informal thing called the Waffle House Index to tell how severe a storm is based on whether they're open or not.
Yeah, I can buy that as being true. I think C. Did you say C again? Because I think that's the fake.
Portland was named by a coin flip. Otherwise, it would have been called Boston, Oregon.
I think that's probably a myth that people tell each other, but isn't actually true. Some say that's the fake.
Stuart sounds so convincing when he gives
And he's consistently wrong, but he's very confident.
Next is Darren.
Can you repeat B for me, Pat?
Sesame Street's The Count loves to count, but it isn't just a quirky character trait. In traditional vampire folklore, vampires have arithmomania, a compulsion to count.
It'd be interesting if that was true, given that it's never come up in any vampire stuff that I've ever seen. So I'll pick that one.
All right, Darren picks that. And next is Cristina.
I think I'm going to side with Darren on this one and pick B.
All right, Cristina.
That's two of us.
Cristina agrees about the count, and lastly is Adam.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with the count one as well. It's obviously a Sesame Street joke because of his name. And yeah, I've never heard of it.
All right, Adam also agrees. In traditional vampire folklore, they do have arithmomania. Portland was named by a coin flip. The Waffle House Index is a thing. Kevin Bacon didn't found an organization for that. All right, going into question number 5, the last question. I have Darren with one, Cristina with one, Adam with one, and Stuart trailing with a goose egg.
Oh, boy.
Darren, spot the fake. A, Russian cosmonauts used to pack a shotgun in case they ended up landing in Siberia and had to fend off bears.
Wow.
B, when Canada's Northwest Territories considered renaming itself in 1990, for a time the second most popular choice was the name Bob. C, there is a pattern on the inside of your upper eyelid that is as unique as your fingerprint. Or D, after Outkast had a hit with the song Hey Ya, which had the lyric, "Shake it like a Polaroid picture," Polaroid released a statement warning that shaking them can actually damage your pictures.
Feel bad for those Russian cosmonauts because they could end up in a gulag anyway at that time. Eyelid.
Darren says C. Next is Cristina.
I'm going to go with B.
Northwest Territories was not almost called Bob. Next is Adam.
I'm going to agree with Cristina. I think a lot of silly answers win these kind of polls in the post-internet time, but I don't buy it for back then. So I don't think Bob was the alternate name for Northwest Territories.
All right, lastly, Stuart.
So I think the Bob one is just stupid. So that's going to be the fake. But I'm going to have to pick another one. Sorry, what was A?
Russian cosmonauts and a shotgun.
Russians, I'm pretty sure that they would have taken a gun with them. I'm surprised it'd be a shotgun, but fair enough. C was... What was C?
A pattern inside your upper eyelid is unique as your fingerprint.
Yeah, I'm sure that the pattern inside your upper eyelid is...
Sure.
No, seriously. I've got a medical degree. I'm sure it is as unique as your fingerprint. And what was D? I'm going to have to go with D. What was D?
D is Outkast shaking, and then Polaroid had to release a statement.
They never would have done that. So no, gonna have to go with that one.
All right, Stuart goes with the Polaroid picture. Polaroid did issue that statement.
Yep.
Boo.
Russian cosmonauts did pack a shotgun. Bob was the second most popular choice to rename the Northwest Territories. A unique pattern inside your eyelids is made up. Darren is your winner. Congratulations, Darren.
Boo.
Thank you.
Last, we have a game of Spot the Fake from episode 566. The crew sometimes asks me to play more versions of this game, and my answer is that for a regular game of Name That, I have to research one correct answer and make up 3 wrong answers. For Spot the Fake, I have to research 3 right answers and make up 1 wrong answer. It's just a lot more work, but we will continue to play the game occasionally. And with that, I hope everyone out there is staying safe and healthy, and we will talk to you soon. We have 5 questions, no tiebreaker today. If we're tied after 5 questions, we'll end that way. For each question, I'll give you 4 so-called facts. 3 are absolutely true, and 1 is not. And I'll ask you to spot the fake fact. I've randomly determined our starting order, and we'll rotate. And Adam, you're up first.
All right.
Spot the fake. Is it A, by weight, bay leaves contain more caffeine than coffee beans? they commonly are used to make a stimulating tea in Morocco. Or B, the longest advertisement to ever air on television was 14 hours long. Or C, duffel bags are named after the town of Duffel, Belgium. Or D, when Gustave Eiffel designed the Eiffel Tower, he added a hidden apartment on the 3rd level.
In the past week, I've watched 2 movies in which scenes take place in the Eiffel Tower. And it seems like whenever I see a movie in a place like that, there's just like rooms that somehow tourists never go in where people hang out. And I don't know if that really makes sense. So I'm going to say, no, I guess I would say that one's real. So
I was going to say, you're spotting the fake, not giving us a...
Doesn't help me. Bay leaves, I believe, are the thing you put in spaghetti sauce, and then when you eat them, they taste kind of weird. It seems like that one is probably fake. A.
All right, Adam says A, bay leaves. Next is Cristina.
I've never heard that before, but that doesn't mean anything about the bay leaves, even though I use it in cooking certain things. The duffel one seems just, I don't know, just seems so simple in that it's so plausible that it's probably the fake. So based on that logic, I will go with C.
All right, Cristina goes with the duffel bags. And lastly, Darren.
Yeah, again, good choices, Pat. Is there just a room or is it an apartment? And the one, is a telethon count as 14 hours as an ad? Does it not? Is it the weight of the beans versus the leaves? Is it Duffel, Germany or something? I'll pick the duffel also.
All right, Darren agrees with Cristina on duffel bags. Eiffel used the special space to entertain distinguished guests such as Thomas Edison. It isn't a big room, but the apartment was decorated with wallpaper, furnished with wooden cabinets, and even featured a grand piano.
I know that one. I love Paris so much.
A 14-hour ad for an Old Spice product that supposedly lasted forever was aired in São Paulo, Brazil on December 8th, 2018, earning the Guinness World Record for the longest TV ad ever.
Wow.
The duffel bag does get its name from the town of Duffel, Belgium, where the cloth used for the bags was originally sold.
Boo.
Bay leaves containing more caffeine than coffee beans is made up. Question number 2. Cristina, spot the fake. Is it A, Mattel's iconic Barbie doll has a full name? It's Barbara Millicent Roberts. Or B, Bangladesh has 6 official seasons. Or C, originally the Fonz was going to wear a leather vest, but the popularity of the village people made them switch it to a jacket.
Oh, no.
Or D, baseball umpires used to call games sitting in rocking chairs.
Oh, man. It's just so fascinating that 3 of these are true.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go with... I feel like Barbie does have a full name, but I don't think it's Barbara Millicent, whatever you said.
Okay.
I'm going to go with A.
All right, Cristina goes with Barbie. Next is Darren.
I hate to keep siding with Cristina, but I'll pick A.
Darren also goes with Barbie. And lastly, Adam.
I thought her name was Barbie Doll, but
I know.
I'm wrong on that one. I believe the baseball umpires sitting in rocking chairs is the fake.
All right. When Barbie was introduced back in March 1959, she was given the full name of Barbara Millicent Roberts.
Oh, man.
Bangladesh has 6 seasons: summer, monsoon, autumn, late autumn, winter, and spring. Prior to 1859, the pros responsible for handing out strikes and balls sat in rocking chairs 20 feet behind the batter. The Fonz leather vest story is made up. All right, question number 3. Darren, spot the fake. Is it A, Lego has an underground vault with reportedly every Lego set ever made? Or B, police are called cops or coppers because their badges used to be made out of copper? Or C, research indicates that as in HUH question mark, is the closest thing humans have to a universal word, understood in almost every language? Or D, platypuses don't have stomachs?
Platypuses have stomachs. So I guess that's the fake, even I was going to pick one of the other ones before.
All right, Darren says platypuses have stomachs. Next is Adam.
Sorry, can we go through them?
Yep. Lego Underground Vault, every set ever made. Police are called cops or coppers because their badges used to be made out of copper. Research indicates that the is the closest thing to a universal word. or platypuses don't have stomachs?
I think C, being a universal expression, is the fake.
All right, Adam says C. And lastly, Cristina.
I feel like platypus is a trick question. B sounds... I'm going to go with B. What the hell?
All right, Cristina says B, the police, and copper. In 2008, Gizmodo got a peek at LEGO's underground memory lane vault, which contains over 4,700 LEGO sets, some dating back to the 50s. Research suggests that is the closest thing humans have to a universal word. The questioning expression is understood in almost every language. On top of having a bird-like bill and webbed feet, the platypus doesn't have a stomach.
Yes.
The word copper was originally used in Britain to mean someone who captures. The copper badge is made up.
Oh, so then Constable on Patrol is also made up?
It is also made up, yes. I did actually see that in my research. Question number 4. Adam, spot the fake. Is it A, the shortest commercial flight in the world takes 57 seconds?
Sure, why not?
B, the phrase, if pain persists, see your doctor, is trademarked by Bear. C, Frederick Bauer, the man responsible for creating the iconic Pringles can, was buried in a Pringles can.
To seal in the freshness?
Right. Or D, before she became a member of the Black Eyed Peas, Fergie provided the voice for Sally in Peanuts cartoons.
Oh, Fergie is way too young for that. There may have been different eras of Peanuts cartoons. There may be a trick there. But I'm going to go with D being the fake.
All right, Adam goes with Fergie. Next is Cristina.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat the first couple? Quickly.
Shortest commercial flight, 57 seconds. Pain persists, see your doctor, trademarked by Bear. Guy buried in a Pringles can. Fergie doing a voice for the Peanuts.
I can believe the bear thing. And the first one. The Fergie thing seems same reason Adam said, because of when Peanuts first came out. But once again, I'm going to go just like my instinct with the copper one. I'm thinking the Pringles can, although I seem to remember something. Anyway, I'm going to go with C, Pringles. He did not get buried in a Pringles can.
All right, Cristina goes with the Pringles can. And lastly, Darren.
I agree with my co-host, but I'll pick A.
Stacey Ann Ferguson, better known as Fergie, provided the voice for Sally, Charlie Brown's younger sister, for 2 TV movies and several episodes of the Peanuts animated series.
Wow.
The flight between 2 Scottish islands of Westray and Papa Westray lasts just 57 seconds.
Wow.
At Bauer's request, his children bought a can of original flavor Pringles en route to his funeral, and he was buried in the empty can.
Damn.
The phrase, if pain persists, see your doctor, is not trademarked by Bear.
You're sneaky.
To be fair, I wasn't picturing that he was cremated.
Well, how else would you get it in the
was.
Pringles
How big is the
can?
Well,
2
you could
feet?
have it specially made if you're the Pringles guy.
All right, going into the last question, I have Adam with 1 and Cristina with 1. Question number 5. Cristina, spot the fake. Is it A, the NFL and FIFA have been in a court battle for decades over the legal right to call their sport football? Or B, auction houses Christie's and Sotheby's once played rock, paper, scissors to decide who would auction a $20 million art collection? Or C, NASA was sued by 3 men for trespassing on Mars? Or D, Niels Bohr was given a house with unlimited beer on tap after he won the Nobel Prize?
Who's going to charge you with trespassing on Mars? That's ridiculous. So that's got to be true.
Well, to say, the United States is a litigious country.
So I'm thinking, maybe I'll go with A. I don't believe that to be true, although people are always arguing about it, soccer fans and football fans. But
All right, Cristina goes with the NFL and FIFA. Next is Darren.
Did such a great job with this. They all seem so plausible.
it's true.
The Christie's thing, the football thing, Niels Bohr thing. I guess, I could see Niels Bohr getting that, but he wouldn't want to drink that much beer anyway. We'll go with Sotheby's. That one. B, Pat.
All right, Darren goes with B. And lastly, Adam.
I think it's A, because although for sure a lot of people argue about whether football means, hitting with the foot or something that doesn't have anything to do with the foot, the acronyms aren't the same. So even if they were both acronyms for the same sport, there's no legal contention there. So I don't really see it. So I think that's the fake.
So you've decided that you're going to end in a tie no matter what happens here.
Sorry if I don't make it more interesting.
That's all right. After he won the Nobel Prize in 1922, Carlsberg gave Bohr a house located next to the brewery. It had a direct pipeline to the brewery with unlimited free beer on tap.
Wow.
That's incredible.
In 2005, both Sotheby's and Christie's were eager to sell Takashi Hashimeya's $20 million art collection, but when Hashimeya couldn't choose between the auction houses, he let a game of rock, paper, scissors between the auction houses make the decision for him.
That's amazing.
Now, Japanese call it Junkin Pao. It's a little bit exactly the same thing, but they have different.
Christie's was the winner, by the way. Scissors beat paper. In 1997, NASA was sued by 3 men from Yemen for trespassing on Mars. The men claimed that they had inherited the planet from their ancestors 3,000 years ago. The NFL and FIFA court case is made up.
Yes.
So we end in a tie. Congratulations, Adam and Cristina.
Well, what I'm hearing is that there's no winner here today.
Actually, what I'm hearing, there's 2 winners and 1 loser. That's
what I hear is that no one came in first and there's a strong second.
We could break this tie with a game of rock, paper, scissors.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah?
Is this between all of us or just the
No,
two?
just
just
the
me
two of
and
them to
Adam.
break the tie.
Oh, that's
So
fine.
you're like a judge. So we do 1, 2, 3, boom.
Okay.
Okay?
1, 2, 3, go.
Rock.
Scissors.
Worked for Sotheby's.
That's great, Pat. Another great game. We learned 20 things and probably retained none of them, but we can listen to it later. That's the beauty of this show.
It's interesting when we played that game. I had this discussion with Stuart Farrimond when he was here staying with us. I said, I worry about that game because I worry that the fake facts are going to stick in people's heads as true.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
For show notes or to discuss this episode, visit our Facebook page and website at trcpodcast.com. For general inquiries or to send a topic or parody suggestion, email info@trcpodcast.com. Help support the show by leaving a review on iTunes and liking us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter @TRC_podcast.